I only have 4 questions, and let's get into it. So the first question, of course, is when and where did you close? Like, what state are you in?
I'm in the state of Texas, and I closed on the 8th of March, 2021.
So Texas and the 8th of March. So very recent. It's April right now for everybody watching this video. All right, so let's get into the process. So when did you first learn about Naca, like that being an option for you?
I actually learned about Naca through an old coworker of mine's back in 2018. He actually purchased his house through Naca, and he told me about the process. And funny enough, when he told me about the process and the interest rates and all that stuff, if he sees this video, I honestly thought it was a scam.
And that's what a lot of people think. That's why when I did that first Naca video, I went like this, because I said, is it too good to be true? Because people do think it's a scam, because they're like, no mortgage, no down payment, low interest rate. Like, what is all of that? So what made you like think it's not a scam?
So I mean, he was pretty transparent. He was like, "That's all I'm gonna tell you." He's like, he gave me the website. He's like, "Go check it out," and that's what I did. I went and I checked it out for myself. I went onto the website, and even reading the website and everything, I still thought it was a scam.
You still thought it was a scam, even on the website. Okay. So, but you said, let me try it, because you know he had a house, right? At least.
Yeah. And it's a really good friend of mine. I trust the guy. I was like, there's no way he's gonna scam me, right?
He's not gonna scam you. Okay, so good. So you knew somebody you can trust. So you go. I know one of the first things you have to do with NACA is to attend usually their seminars and all of that. So when did you actually start? Like, what was your first like actual like signing up, I guess?
So I actually did sign up for the initial workshop back in 2018. So I did my workshop in 2018. But then after that, once I got my NACA ID, because you get that right after the seminar,
right?
Had some stuff going on, personal stuff. So I kind of put the house stuff on hold, and then I jumped back on in like March of 2020. Yeah.
March. So right, pandemic, boom, pandemic. I'll buy a house. So as soon as that started. All right. So you get back in on March, and just explain to them the process. Because it's a lot of different little steps. And I know one of them is like, you have to budget, you have to, how long did that take, like with your counselor before they approved you?
So even though I jumped back on in March, I wasn't able to talk to anyone until I made notes here. September. Yeah.
Ooh. So the first time you talked to a live person was September.
Correct. Because of the low interest rates and because of COVID, a lot of the NACA offices were affected by COVID, so they were all working virtually. So their offices were closed, and also because of the low interest rates, everybody's out there trying to get a home. So they were literally backlogged. So that's why it took so long from saying, "Hey, I want to talk to somebody about buying," till actually talking to somebody about buying.
Okay. So yeah, and a lot of people were frustrated about that process. So I would say be patient, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So you were able to speak to somebody in September.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what was that first step after you talked to him?
So let's call your initial intake. Had I had my stuff together, I actually probably would have gotten, so basically what they do, they look at your finances and pretty much everything financially, and then they submit you to a NACA underwriter. And what they're going to do is they're going to go over your stuff and say, okay, you're qualified for how much you're asking for, right?
Okay.
I didn't. So what delayed my process was, so NACA has a stipulation in there. If you're going to look for something if you're renting a property and you're going to look for a mortgage that's going to be more than 500 of what your current rent, then you need to show, I believe it was 3 months of what NACA calls savings.
Okay.
Or I like to call it cash flow because that's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay.
And then so you need to have that.
Saved.
Correct. Well, you
Okay.
need to show your previous 3 months that you're saving for that payment shock for your new mortgage.
Yes. So I have heard that before. So you have payment. So basically they know what your rent is and they're saying, okay, your mortgage is going to be this. So in order for you to get, used to that payment, start saving that mortgage payment now.
Correct.
So they wanted you to do that for 3 months before they would approve you.
Yes.
Okay. So you did that. That's October, November, December.
Correct.
So you go back to them in January?
Correct. I got my follow-up was January 8th.
I like a man with notes. I like a man with notes. So January 8th, you had your follow-up of 2021.
Yeah.
Now, are you at this time going to use like a Naca agent to find a house, or were you going to use like your own real estate agent?
So when I did my follow-up on January 8th, they took everything. The counselor I was working with, she's like, everything looked good. I'm going to submit it. And then 2 days later, it came back qualified. Naca does, before you even go out there to search for a house, you have to do a another workshop.
Okay.
And it's on every Thursday. So I think I got qualified on like a Monday or something like that.
Right.
So I did it on the Thursday. And I decided to go with an in-house Naca realtor.
Okay.
Just based on looking at videos like yours, and
because they know the ins and outs, right? Because and I'll just be honest with you. In that video, I don't do a lot of Naca because it's a lot to do. It's a lot to navigate that process. And if they do them all the time, they would understand them a little bit better. But all right, so y'all get out. But let me ask you this: on your approval, is the approval through Bank of America? Who's on your approval letter? Or does it just say Naca?
No, it just says Naca. It doesn't say Bank of America. Yeah, it just says Naca.
So the seller knows that you're using a Naca mortgage. And that's one thing I want to say that to everyone that could be, because you were successful, we're gonna find out, but it could be a deterrent for a seller. Like, what's Naca? Like, what's happening with this? And that's what I kind of said in my video was like, if that agent, that listing agent is familiar with Naca, they may like put it to the side because they think it's gonna take a lot longer sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess a caveat in there is that it actually spells out Naca. It doesn't say the abbreviation for Naca. Okay. It actually spells out.
Okay, it spells out what it is. And this was national, what does it stand for again?
I think it's neighborhood.
I know, associate. It's on my video. If you've never watched my Naca video, watch that. But yeah, so it spells it out instead of saying Naca. So you had your Naca approval. You went with the Naca agent and you go out and start looking for homes. Now you're in Texas. Yep. Now, a lot of people are saying all the California people are coming in Texas and buying up all the houses and I can't compete and I can't do this. So, you have to sell your strategy after this. You're going to be a Naca advisor. Okay, how did you get your approval? Like, let's stop there. How many houses did you have to go see?
It's funny because, so I told you that workshops is on Thursday.
Right.
We did the contract with the realtor on the Friday.
Okay.
And he said, we'll go look for places the Sunday.
Okay.
But my wife and I, we went out and did some open houses and some stuff that we were looking at the Saturday. So when we met up with him on the Sunday, I believe we looked at like 7 properties that day.
Okay.
Including the one that I bought.
Okay, so the first day you go out, you bought the house you saw on the first day.
Yeah.
Okay, that was nothing but God right there. I mean, I've been hearing some stories. Okay, so we're gonna hear. So you look at 7 houses. Did you tell the realtor, I like this house? Like, I want to make an offer on this house?
As a matter of fact, the house that I bought was not on the list for Sunday. We looked at it, and it was an open house, so we looked at it the previous day. Okay. And my realtor, kudos to him. He's really knowledgeable, and we were actually between properties, and the house that I bought was in the middle. So I was like, hey, do you have a second? Can we just stop by? Because I just wanted his input, on how the property looked. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And we really got lucky because they also had open house that Sunday.
Okay.
But when we got there, it was like 10 or 15 minutes after the open house had closed.
Okay.
but the owner was in the driveway. And
Oh yeah, like that little owner in the driveway. Gotta use whatever you have, so they see you and they're like they have an opportunity. And sometimes you don't get that opportunity to make that connection as to who's gonna buy your house. But okay, so you see the owner in the driveway.
Yeah, and so he walked over. He asked, "Hey, do you mind if we go look?" And they were actually pretty good. They were just about leaving. We left the garage open, and it was like, just
like,
close it when you're done.
Right. Yeah. So you make an offer on that house. Do you know how many other offers they received?
I do not. I will say this though. Our initial offer, I guess my agent was in contact with the seller's agent, and when we put in our initial offer, he called back maybe like 2 days later and said the multiple offers on the property, and he asked if I wouldn't mind increasing my offer by $6,000 more.
Okay.
However, my offer was still below what they were asking for.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So they wanted you to increase, but they didn't want you to increase to the list price, so you still came a little bit under that.
Correct. Yes.
That's a good thing, and it's a good thing for them to even call you back.
Yeah.
After something's been under contract, they call you back. You say yes to that.
Yep.
And they accept your offer.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, I think you're the unicorn of all the Naca, like all the Naca recipients and all. I think you're a unicorn. I know there's gonna be a lot of comments on this video. How'd you do that? So, but yeah. So you get your offer accepted, which is outstanding. And how long between? So what are we at? Like, you have your note January like 12th.
Yep.
You go under contract.
So the contract, we were contracted to close on the 26th of February.
Okay.
I believe that's what it is. Maybe.
Gotcha.
So I'm sorry. So we put the offer in on the 18th of January.
Okay.
So we're contracted to close on the 26th of February, but we didn't close on time. And I'll put a caveat in there. This wasn't Naca's fault.
Okay.
I truly believe we probably would have closed early. However, because we had that winter storm here in Texas.
Okay. Very true.
After that winter storm, my counselor at Naca, he lives in Houston, and he didn't have power for like a week. I didn't have power for like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
And so that delayed that process.
The closing and then probably underwriting and all that.
Yeah.
I was able to get through.
Yeah, and on top of that, Bank of America wanted a reinspection of the property just to make sure there weren't any damages from the storm.
That makes sense, right? So they're not, backing something that potentially is damaged. Was it damaged at all in the storm?
No damages at all. And then we had a new closing date, which was I believe it was like a week later, and the seller had some issues that came up like the day before closing, so we had to delay like 3 or 4 days after that, and then we finally.
What city are you in?
I'm in Arlington.
You're in Arlington, Texas. Okay, good. Now, so I mean, this is relatively smooth. So this is one of the smoothest Naca closings I've ever heard. So everything went smooth. Inspection, appraisal went well.
The appraisal. So let's go to the inspection first. So the inspection came back with some minor stuff in there. We asked the seller if they're repairing anything. The seller said they wouldn't repair anything, that they'd give $1 a month towards repairs.
Right. Okay.
I countered that, and they agreed to it.
Okay.
So that was the inspection part.
Let me ask this really quick about the inspection with Naca. I've heard that Naca requires them to do it. Like you can't do a credit. Like they want you to fix whatever needs to be fixed, and their inspectors come back and look at it. Is that true or no?
I'm sorry. Let me back up. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, correct. So when you're doing your inspection, right, Naca is going to take a look at your inspection. The inspector has to be Naca qualified as well.
Okay.
All right. So the inspector is going to come back with a list. It's broken down into two categories: required repairs and non-required repairs, meaning that you don't have to have it done.
But you can get a credit for that other stuff, perhaps.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they have to fix other stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So in my credit, I had stuff that needed required repairs and stuff that didn't. To speed my process along, what I did was I asked for a waiver. And what a waiver is you're asking Naca or the bank that for the required repairs, you're going to take care of it on your own, out of your own pocket, out of your own, your own expense. Okay. And they'll take a look at it. And what they will do is, so every repair has a dollar amount as an estimate of what it will cost. And what Naca will do, if you ask for a waiver, they'll look at the total cost of what you're asking to waive, and then they'll look and see your financials if you have enough money to cover those repairs. Which in my case, I did.
So that's good to know, because I didn't know that waiver was a possibility. So that's good to know. So if you're doing Naca, you may want to make sure you have enough savings so you're not asking the seller to do everything. Then the seller is like, oh, giving you pushback saying we're not doing all this stuff. Correct. So that's a good thing to know. So now for the appraisal.
So the appraisal came back a little over $20,000 below.
Right. I said, it wasn't that smooth. Let me see. Okay. So even though they had come back to you, they wanted extra $6,000 and you agreed, but the appraisal came in $20,000 lower, which a lot of sellers, because the market is so hot, are pricing their properties a lot higher than maybe they're worth. So the appraiser comes out, they appraise it for $20,000. And now what does your agent do and what do you do?
So I get this appraisal back and it's like $20,000 below. And I'm like, I have the money to cover it, but I don't want to cover $20,000.
No, wait, not $20,000. I'll walk before I pay $20,000. All right. So did y'all ask the seller to reduce the price?
So my agent, kudos to him again. He saw the silver lining, I guess, because he does this all the time. He was like, well, this is a good news. He was like, you're not going to pay what you're offered you're obviously going to pay something lower. Right. So he's like, we're going to go straight to, we're going to ask the seller to go for the appraisal price. Right. And, I gotta say, probably my sellers were motivated because they came back the same day and said, okay.
Okay. And you'll be surprised. I mean, prior to all of this seller stuff, if it appraised for lower, people just took their appraised value. Now they're like, oh, how much cash do you have? And how much all of this? But back in the pre-COVID, they would go down to the appraisal price relatively easily. Yeah. God, again, like you checking off all these boxes. So you get your appraisal goes through, they reduce the price to the appraised value, and then you close. Did you still keep your credit and the appraised value? The credit that he promised you for the repairs?
Yes. Yeah. So that's all still in the contract.
Still there. So you got both. You got the credit and you got the appraised value, which is great. All right. So you close, everything's done. Now you're in your house about a month now, a little over a month.
I haven't moved yet, actually. No, I'm.
Are you still? Is that the apartment wall that I'm looking at? Why haven't you moved in yet?
So, because some of the repairs that I talked about, I've been slowly chipping away at those, and I actually had the last thing done this week. So, yeah.
Now, are you doing the repairs yourself?
Some of them I did myself. Some of them I had contractors to do them.
Gotcha. Yeah. But do you feel confident, like once it's your house? Because I think a lot of people are scared, like everything has to be done before I move in. Were you like intimidated by fixing anything yourself or having to fix anything yourself?
No, I mean, it helps if you know a few things. For example, so part of what I left out is when you get your inspection from Naca, you need to vet estimates for the required repairs on that inspection. Okay. And based on some of the estimates, like for example, the plumber came in and he started looking at stuff and I'm no plumber, but I was like, no.
You were jacking up those prices.
Yeah.
Like, like that doesn't cost that. Oh, dripping faucet, $2,000.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have to get other quotes as well?
You can shop around if you want, but
right.
You don't have to. You just need one estimate because Naca has their own estimate, but they need an estimate coming from a contractor.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. So some things you can do yourself, some things you can have a contractor complete. All right. So you're closed. You're going to move in once the repairs are done. I was going to say something. I know the Naca people, all the Naca people in my comments say, why didn't you ask this? I don't know.
Well, so
go ahead.
So hypothetically, so let's say that I did not ask for a waiver on the repairs. Essentially, what would have happened was those estimates that I took care of for the inspection. You can ask for Naca to repair them for you.
Okay.
And they would roll it into your mortgage. However, it'll be kind of similar to like what do you call that? The
203K? 203K? Yeah. Oh, the drama. Don't get me started on that. I still haven't made a video like update on that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You probably did the smartest thing. Just go ahead and do the waiver and get it yourself. Because that's a lot. All right. So one thing I think that I've seen in the comments, they say that Naca puts a lien on your house. And could you explain that process? I know the intent is they don't want investors taking advantage of this program, this renting out, like buying a house with a low interest rate, with no down payment, then renting it out. So how does that lien get off of your house, I guess? Like if you're ready to sell or something down the road.
So it's a soft lien. And it really, technically, it doesn't really exist until you try to sell it.
Right, okay.
So, I mean, you can sell your house, you can refinance your house, you can do whatever to your house except rent your house. Gotcha. Unless you have like a multifamily Naca. So
okay. Gotcha. And sorry, Naca does allow multifamily in certain situations.
Correct.
So if people are interested in that, watch the video, click the links. Which one, this is question number 3. Which one of my videos like did you catch, I guess, and you know how we got connected? Which one of the videos would you recommend that people watch, I guess?
So originally I came across your channel looking at Naca videos, and you actually made one. So that was my first video that I looked at.
Okay.
And I also looked at your there was a video that you had where you talked about writing a letter to the seller.
Okay, gotcha.
And I forgot to mention this, but I did that. Yes.
Okay, good. See, gotta get that, gotta pull out that heart a little bit so they remember you at least, and they're like, call this guy back, see if he'll go up $6,000. All right. So, and my last question is always, what's the best advice you have? But I'm gonna ask. Well, first, let's say Naca is not a scam. Yes,
it's not a scam.
So if anybody thinks Naca is a scam, it's not a scam. And so what is your best advice for anybody that's thinking about doing Naca? They might be a little bit frustrated with the process, perhaps. I know you've probably seen that in like comments and videos and that sort of thing. Yours was relatively very smooth. So what advice would you have for first-time home buyers thinking about doing Naca?
If you're gonna do Naca, it's a really good program. On a broad overview, I would say if you can qualify for Naca, you can qualify for any mortgage out there. I believe that for a fact.
Right.
And I'm not saying it because people say it's a really hard program. It's because they actually prepare you through everything, financially, through the housing process, contract, everything. I mean, the problem with it is that you have to do your due diligence. You have to go into the book. You have to read it. Mm-hmm. And I understand that it's not always easy to understand, especially if you're seeing some of these terms for the first time.
Right.
Especially good example is that whole savings pattern that I talked about that I didn't have. Mm-hmm. And I call it cash flow because if you ask any financial person, it's the easiest way to explain it.
Right.
Because for everyday people, we think that savings is whatever you put in your savings account.
Right.
That's not what Naca considers savings. It has to be a positive cash flow across all your accounts.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And they walk you through that process. All right. A little bonus question. Do you want to make everybody jealous with your interest rate?
Disclaimer, I did buy down some of my interest rate.
Okay, and so that's something that Naca allows. So you pay some a little bit extra to buy down your rate. So what did you, what's your interest rate?
I closed with 1.875.
Let's say that again. 1.875. Yeah, that's why people think it's a scam. That's why people think it's a scam. I'm saying about to pop out of my head. Okay, yes.
The only reason why I did it was I just wanted something that was below inflation. This way, at the end, it would be a win-win. So.
Gotcha. And you accomplished that you can't beat that. I don't know anybody that's getting like 1% rate. So, so if you're doing Naca and getting a little frustrated, remember John and his experience. It might just work out for you. Anything else you want to add?
If you're gonna go out there to buy a home, I think you mentioned in one of your videos, but don't just go out buying a house if you don't have your home finances in order. I mean, what I mean by that is make sure you have, some sort of reserves, in the bank, because you never know life happens, right? So
it does, yeah. So make sure you're financially ready to take that next step. And congratulations to you and to your family. Do you have children?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yep. So are they excited to move?
Oh yeah, that's all they talk about.
They can't wait. Okay, good. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with me. I really, really appreciate it. And have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Shaheedah.
Thank you.